The sheer absurdity of the way that food is distributed between supermarket chains is ridiculous. Why is this happening? Like, why does the food go from one corner of England all the way up to the north to a packing plant, and then all the way back down to the south again to be sold in a supermarket, 50 miles away from where it was grown? Well, it's all economics. It's all because it's profitable. And I don't think food should be about profit at the end of the day. And I also don't appreciate how supermarkets not only just do things for profit, but then end up manipulating the situations for dairy farmers and vegetable farmers. So essentially dictating the rules in terms of how things are sold and what prices they're sold and how much profit the farmers get.
Farmers markets, we just take one of the vans up to London. We just do Wimbledon in South London because that's at the time that was the closest one. Well, the distribution is either by delivery or the customers can come and collect them from the farm if they want to. We find having the box scheme in the markets works quite well in harmony with each other. If you've got too much of something, then it goes into the boxes, and if it's something that's not done so well, then we reserve that for the market, unless it's been ordered by a special order customer. And if it's not fit for sale, then I cook it. So we sort of rotate things around like that and try and minimise waste as much as possible. Organic vegetables are more expensive just partly because of the amount of time and labour involved, or extra time and labour involved out in the field, but also from an administration point of view. We have to keep records of whether we've harvested the goods, how much we've harvested, or if we've bought in, where we've bought it in from, records that they are a sort of certified organic wholesaler or certified organic producer, because we do buy from other producers.
It took about a whole year to get one full-sized allotment. It's not as easy as you think to get an allotment. You kind of have to be patient. But when you consider that it's a very long-term project, like, it's probably not something you do for a year or two. And the reason why they're so in demand is because this is London. I mean, the areas of land that people are trying to grow on when you get closer to the center are just too valuable. They're just too valuable for development reasons. I just see that a lot of sort of organic gardening is all about like how much money you can spend, as opposed to being really DIY and really sustainable and doing everything like as cheaply and as like consciously as possible. And then also knowing that you're not just wasting space, but what I'd like to see is, and personally if I had more like time and balls to do it, was like reclaiming urban spaces. There's so much land out there that's not used that could so easily be used for growing stuff. And when you consider, like, you go to a park and you see trees, like, that's great. Trees are great. I love trees. Why not throw in an apple tree once in a while, or a pear tree, or a plum tree, or a couple raspberry bushes? I mean, landscaping can be edible.
Well, I agree with all the previous speakers that we have a problem, and my summary of it would be that the current industrialized, globalized, centralized model for our food production and distribution systems are deeply unsustainable and much more precarious than most people realize. And I think that the system of farming which best addresses that challenge, in other words, which incorporates the most features of a shift towards truly sustainable agriculture, will be based on organic principles. It may not be certified, as Zach said, but it will be based on organic principles. But I think this change is needed, And the way it will be achieved is to build a new movement, a food movement for change. Because this change will have to come from the bottom up, not the top down. The top will have to do things, but it has to come from us. We've got to believe, all of us, that this new movement and the features of the new food system that we can build will actually improve our quality of life and be more fulfilling than what the current model which we replace it with.
And I think we should aspire to making allotments a big part of our national culture again.
You're not born with the green thumb, you work at it.
We need to spend more time cooking. We need to cut down on protein. We don't need to live on cheap meat. Eating seasonally.
And one of the things that I would say to you as consumers is that actually everything you do when you go and buy or choose a piece of food is essentially not just an act for making yourself feel better or having some great food, but it's effectively a political act.
In terms of people with busy schedules, making time out to grow food, it's just a decision that you have to make.